Hi, welcome to Gemini Star Spiritual Wellness. Thank you for joining me today. I'm glad that you're here with me, and I'm grateful to have you join me for this video. And as always, please like and subscribe. Hit the like button so this video will go out to other people that need to see it, but also hit the subscribe button so that you get future videos that I put out. So I do appreciate you joining me today. So let's go ahead and get started. This is our weekly tarot card reading, and this was going to cover the week of June 29th through July 5th. So let's see what's happening for the energy of the collective for the week of June 29th through July 5th. And as always, take what resonates and leave behind what doesn't, because it's not going to resonate with everybody, because a lot of people will be watching this message. And it's for the whole collective. So it's for everybody watching and everybody who's going to be watching. So it's hard to believe July is just around the corner, a couple days away from today. And it's like, I feel like June just kind of flew by. And the energies for June have been kind of crazy, not just for the readings I've been doing on the channel, but also I do personal readings for myself. And it's definitely a lot of intense energy going on. So I like to see what's going to happen for July, beginning of July here this first week. And of course, if you're in the United States, we have a holiday, big holiday coming up at the end of this week on July 4th. So it'll be interesting to see what this week has in store. So I like to shuffle a lot of one more time, I'm hearing. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this going. And I do want to work out a way to use my phone to show the cards, like have a card view and then have a view of me at the same time during the video. But my son, who is the IT guru, he doesn't live in the same city as I do. So I have to wait till he comes to visit to work on that. And last time he was here, I totally forgot to work on it with him. So sorry it's taken me so long. So I'm just going to continue to read out the cards till I can figure out how to do that. All right, so we've got the Lovers, Death card, interesting. We've got the Five of Wands, King of Cups, the Hermit card. Try to make sure that they all fit on here, my little cloth. Queen of Pentacles, and High Priestess. Okay, so we've got four major arcanas in this read. And I think I remember last week was the same way. We had a bunch of major arcanas, which for a small read like this, that's a big deal, because major arcanas are a lot of it's more powerful energy than the minor arcanas. And so, all right, let's see what's going on here. So, and this is for the collective. So I'm looking at it from a global scale, but you could also, this could resonate with you on a personal level too. So it could go either way. But what I'm seeing in the past is there's been a lot of fighting and um, aggression towards each other, disagreements, polarity, not getting along. A lot of intense energy like that in the past as a collective. And I definitely think most of us could agree to that. If you look at what's going on around the world, there's a lot of, anger and like high, contentious energy as the word I'm looking for. Contentious, like fighting, contentious, a lot of hostility and polarity between everybody. But there's a lot of contentious energy that's been in the past, and it's been like that for quite some time. But looking at our current energy going into this week, I definitely see that there is a change coming out of that energy of contention and anger and fighting. We're getting out of that as a collective. And I know this is something I've kind of seen in the cards for, a couple months now, but I feel like it's really going to start coming in where we're getting out of that contentious energy and we're getting into the more loving energy. We're kind of bridging the gaps between us as a collective, and we're getting more into that heart center. We're getting more into love, into our emotions. than in the past, and there's a transition going on. So it's like the ending of the contentious energy, but the beginning of a more loving energy. And there's things going on behind the scenes that's allowing this to happen. Like, what I mean by that is, like, there's energies coming in galactically from the sun, from other parts of the universe. But the energy's helping this to happen. It's helping this transformation to go on to get us into our heart center. So, so that contentious energy is going away. So, like, we have, the Lover's card here in this one position, and you can see, like, there's a little mountain between these two people. So they're not standing next to each other. It's kind of like there's a chasm between them, but that's going to start to go away, and it's going to be, I feel like with, the Lover's energy is not quite the same as the Two of Cups energy, but it's kind of like there's definitely chemistry and, like, attraction there in the Lover's card, but they're not standing next to each other. But I feel like that's going to change because we've got the Death card and we got the King of Cups. So for the current energy. So I definitely feel like, the King of Cups, there's going to be, as a collective, it's like that kingly energy of unconditional love, of being in our heart center, is definitely going to start to take center stage and become more prevalent. And then the death, is, we're transforming, so we're letting go of that contentious old energy and bringing in that new energy of being in our heart center and being in that King of Cups energy, and being, in our emotions and loving. But also, it's also not just the King of Cups, it's the Lover's energy coming in with it as well, to help with that. And then in the near future, there's going to be a lot of introspection. And I know that I've said this in a past video. I can't remember which weekly read, or if it was a mid-month, but I know in the past reading for the collective, I mentioned about the galactics helping the space boys. And I think we're going to continue to see that. I think that there's going to be a level of introspection where we're following our intuition, and it's kind of like we're going to be kind of on our own. So one of the things that's interesting is when you go into your spiritual awakening phase and your consciousness starts to awaken. A lot of times you become kind of in a hermit mode. You become, you're by yourself a lot, or you're not, because your life is changing, and the people that you resonated with and were vibrationally in alignment with in the past, you're no longer in alignment with them. And so that has changed. And so, I think we're going to be going into, as we go into our heart center, and we're making that transition and becoming more of the, King of Cups energy in our heart center, and getting more into, unconditional love. It's going to transform us. And as we go through this transformation, we're going to be spending a lot of time kind of doing introspection, following our intuition, and spending time alone. But also, I feel like the galactics are going to be, this is the Hermit card, and you can see he's got the little lantern in front of him that's kind of leading the way. So that's that's like your intuition guiding you. But you're spending time alone. A lot of folks are going to be spending time alone, but trying to, um, come to terms with all these changes, of energy, and trying to make sense of everything, and trying to, do the healing that they need to be doing. But I do feel like the galactics are part of this. They're definitely a big part of this transitional period of bringing us more into unconditional love, into that energy, out of the contentious energy into our heart center. I feel like they're definitely playing a part in that. Even though we're not consciously aware of it, they're behind the scenes doing it, but they're definitely having a positive influence on it. And I feel like the advice is basically, we've got two cards here that are kind of heavy hitters. We've got the Queen of Pentacles and the High Priestess card. You can see it. So the High Priestess card, I definitely feel as a collective that we are basically learning through that process of, kind of being in a hermit mode. And, we're learning to follow our intuition. We're learning to heal. we're getting better and better about following that inner voice and our intuition and connecting more and more into it, because we all have it. We all have that divine spark. As long as you have a soul, then you have it. But we've been basically programmed and trained not to connect into it, to ignore it, and not to connect into it, to use it for guidance, and that to have that connection with God. So, or the divine. So I feel like that's going to be happening. Like you're going to be people who haven't been connected to their intuition are going to start connecting to it. Or in the past, if you kind of gotten out of it, you're going to reconnect with it. But there's definitely going to be kind of a reawakening of connecting to our to divine energy source and to that divine spark and into our intuition. But what I see also going along with it is kind of having that abundance attitude of the Queen of Pentacles. And we're going to be transitioning as we go into this increased, unconditional love in our heart center, increased energy into that out of the contentious energy. We're also not just following our intuition, but also realizing through our intuition that we are abundant. And the Queen of Pentacles, it's like I feel like we're having abundant energy, or like we're realizing how abundant we really are right now. And I do feel like abundance is going to come in for the collective. Money's going to come in abundance, not just money, but material things as well. So basically, daily living is going to get better with more abundance for everybody on the planet. And I feel like we're going to be more into our intuition to realize that we are abundant and to have an abundant mindset and be grateful for the abundance that we have. And what I mean by the mindset is, we not only were we programmed to live our life on earth in the survival mindset and be stuck in that survival mindset, but also a scarcity mindset when it comes to money and abundance. And like, that contentious energy of we have to fight everybody for what we have and mess people over to get what we want, and all that kind of energy to feel abundant, that's going to go away. And so we're going to use our intuition to guide us to change our mindset from, scarcity mindset, like we never have enough, we never, we're not really abundant, to, hey, I really am abundant. I'm recognizing what I have in my life, and I do have great abundance. But also getting out of that scarcity mindset that I have to fight with everybody to get what I want, or, I never have enough, I don't have enough, and it's never good enough. And I'm always trying to get more. So scarcity mindset of never having enough. So I think there's kind of a lot of beginning of transitions going in here and how we think. And it all goes into our heart center. Because if you think about it, if you're in your heart center and if you're in the place of unconditional love, you have no desire to fight with other people or to be contentious or to mess people over or have any kind of those low vibrational behaviors. You're just not interested in it. You're just not, you have, your vibration has gotten out of that level of thinking. So you're just not there anymore. And I feel like as a collective, I see that changing where, because we're getting more into our heart center, because we're getting more connected to our unconditional love, in our heart, and we're getting more connected with our intuition and the divine, and that energy is helping us to do that. We're also, getting to a place of not having that attitude where we, that scarcity mindset where we have to fight with everybody for what we have, or feeling like we don't have enough and messing people over and things like that. That type of behaviors and mindset, we're getting out of that. And we're understanding that we are, we do have a Queen of Pentacles level of abundance. We already have it in our lives, and we're going to see the parts of our life that we have abundance that maybe we never paid attention to before, or realized in the past that, hey, I really am truly abundant. I have these things, that in my life that are good, and I'm abundant and all these things. And abundance is more than just material, I mean, or money, but it could be like, abundance in love in your life, abundance in health, that those types of things is part of your abundance as well. So it's kind of like looking at what you have and being grateful for what you have, instead of looking at it always from a place of a lack, like, this isn't good enough, that's not good enough, I need to get more of this or more of that, and always feeling like you're coming from a place of scarcity in your thoughts. So I think, we're going to see that transition happen. And I feel like that transition is going to bring a lot of peace to people. I mean, it's going to bring peace in our hearts as we get more into our unconditional love, but also, peace in how we following our intuition more strongly and learning how to tune into that more strongly is going to help us as individuals have more peace. And it's going to help us to, be happy with what we have and be at peace with our abundance. And that will also, and here's the flip side to that, which is interesting, is once you get out of scarcity mindset and you're grateful for what you have and you realize the abundance you have in your life, it's going to bring in more abundance. So once you start having that shift in mindset of abundance and, getting rid of that scarcity mindset, it's going to bring more abundance into your life in all forms and not just money and material things, but in all forms. And I feel like people are going to start really making that transition. But also, and this is a good time, like we're going to see, peace start to come around the world. And I know that doesn't seem like it if you look at what's going on globally, but that contentious energy of the past is going away. And as the collective, as people get more and more into their heart center and become more into unconditional love and start to go into unconditional love in that heart chakra, of course, peace is going to follow. Because when you're in a place of unconditional love, you have no desire to harm somebody else or hurt somebody else. So it's going to be kind of, globally, peace is going to become more and more prevalent and contention's going to go away. So, I mean, it's not going to be like an overnight process, but you're going to start to see as more people get into that energy, follow their intuition, and you're going to start to see the lower vibrational behaviors and energy of contention and control and anger and fighting each other. That's going to go away, and it's just going to naturally go away because people aren't going to be in alignment anymore with that energy. They're not going to be there anymore in how they think and feel and act, and so it's all going to be a higher vibrational place, and so it will just naturally kind of just disappear, and kind of get out of the collective energy, just slowly just make its way out. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's what I have for this week. So it looks like, and I just keep feeling like this summer is going to be really crazy with energy, like a lot going on. And it's going to be a very powerful couple months of transitions, a lot of changes going on globally and in our lives. I feel like it's going to be a really big season. And so, looking at these cards for this week, I mean, that's a lot of big energy coming in. And it might not be, something that we notice in our everyday life, but it's definitely coming in and we'll start to see it and feel shifts. And it might be subtle. Like I said, you might not notice it in your everyday life, but that's where coming into your intuition is so important because when you're connected to your intuition, it will guide you, but you'll also feel these energy shifts, and you'll also it'll be easier for you to make decisions, but also to understand what's going on with the energy because you're literally going to be feeling it. Like I had a moment this past week where I could feel the energy, just lighten up. Just I had a conversation with somebody and it was just that conversation I could tell just really lightened up the energy of the day and of the whole week. And so, I could feel that. I could feel that shift and that change. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Could feel the shift and change. But, that's when you're in tune with your intuition, you can feel that and it helps guide you. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and, I'll be coming out with the July for the whole month, July, tarot card reading here in a couple days. So thank you for joining me. Hope you're doing well. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.